Okay, finally. Alan Cole is here. Yeah, finally got this thing to work. I think that was the fifth attempt today, which is pretty bad. Okay, so if you're new, I do a 2 hour live stream 3 times a week. It has to do with flintnapping, although it's a 2 hour live stream, but the first hour is nothing but chat. The second hour is when I start flintnapping, and I'm only going to be napping small pieces from now on. For two reasons. One is I like doing small pieces, and number two, I'm inside my house, so I don't want flakes everywhere. If I do a big piece, flakes get across the house. I live in a tiny house, so it's only like 15 feet by 15 feet, right? And I can get a flake from here all the way into my kitchen or everywhere. There's a wall behind me, yeah, that separates the main room from the bedroom. But that's it. And flakes sometimes can jump over this wall because it's only 5 feet. So I get them everywhere. And I don't walk around with shoes in the house, so I might step on some flakes, right? Anyways, if you're new, I'll nap in the second hour. So if you just joined us and you want to see only flint napping, then come back in an hour. Leave, do whatever, come back in an hour if you're so inclined, and then you'll see napping. But it's only going to be little pieces, so be warned. I'm not going to be doing big chunks. Go to some other channels. They do big chunks. I think Gulf Coast Napping and Danny Collins and Brad Moore. They'll do bigger chunks, and same with I don't know what's it called, North O2. There's a bunch of guys that do big chunks of stone, so go over there. I'm going to be doing mainly small ones. Okay. All right, everybody. We've got Matthias Melander, JF Baird, Styley Designs, Mike Tubbs, Carson Wallace, Tom Brown, Sam Folks, Smallzilla's here, Aaron Wilson. Nice to see everybody. Nice to see everybody. There's a lot. It's not even 2 o'clock yet. Yeah, I still haven't got a backdrop, but I'm working on it. I don't want a plain white wall, and I'm working on setting up lights so that I can film no matter what the weather is outside, no matter what the light conditions are on outside, and all that. Yeah. So I am working on it, and I'm probably going to get a camera, a DSLR camera, where I can do the settings so that it fixes the lighting also, and I can mount a microphone onto the camera itself and get rid of this stupid thing. Yeah, yeah, that'd be fun. But those are expensive. Yeah, I'm amazed. You can get those cameras that reporters on the street use that have a directed microphone. It's a big long microphone that sticks out, and you can mount it on the top of the camera, and then, you know, film. I'll put the camera on a tripod, obviously, but it can pick up my voice extremely clearly from like 5 feet away, and I don't have to mess with these little external things that I bump into when I'm napping, and uh, sometimes this doesn't adjust properly, or it becomes unadjusted, so I end up puffing into the microphone, and it's kind of cheap anyway, so it's not that good of a sound. Who else we got in here? Let's see. Mike Tuff says, Patrick, your bopper is on the way. Awesome. TJ's New Life is here. So we got TJ's New Life. He's from Australia. Matthias Melander is from Denmark. And everyone else is from the U.S. Prairie Ghost Ken is here. Jeremy's here. You were just watching the channel news. Yeah, I'm going to be posting channel news like I used to do on Wednesdays. And if the weather's not cooperative like today, usually when they say it's going to rain, it's overcast. But no, today it's going to rain in like 15 minutes, and it's still bright sun. And I hate sunlight in my eyes, so that was not fun. But, that's what you get You got to make do with what you got if you depend on weather. But I'm pretty sure that setup Outback's going to work as long as I wait later on in the day. So I'll film the channel news on a different day than Wednesday, and then I'll post it on Wednesday. Yeah, I've got a whole week to wait until the weather's good, or wait until the sun goes down far enough that it casts shadows in my little space back there. I don't want to move that space because the lawn needs to be trimmed and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to be moving stuff back and forth from areas that need to be mowed. Yeah, I'm going to keep everything off the lawn because it's better that way. Who else we got? Let's see, or what else we got going here? Prairie Ghost Ken says, I did some bottle napping yesterday and more today. Awesome. Alan Cole says, I'm picking up some boxes after the live stream so I can get Patrick's care package in the mail. Awesome. Carson Wallace says, where is the best place to get flint or obsidian? Nap-ins. I got nap-in lists. I've got a Napadex too. Napadex. The best place to get rocks is at nap-ins because you can see what you're buying. If you buy it online, it's sight unseen. But there are reliable sellers. Jeff Head, last name Head, just the way it sounds. Jeff Head. There's also Danny Collins, and there's also Curtis Smith from Texas. Jeff Head is from Georgia. Danny Collins is from Texas, I believe, or Arkansas. I can't remember. And so there's other sellers too, but the best place is Nap-ins. And if you don't know what that is, tell me what state you're in. And there's places where you get obsidian too. There's many sites offer obsidian. That's one of the easiest places to get. Now, the best, quote unquote, your best might not be my best, and my best might not be your best. Let's see, Patrick, you use click and ship from USPS? Click and ship? Not yet. I have the stuff, but I just need to get one thing. I'm missing only one thing from my click and ship. It's my label printer. Yeah, I need to get a dedicated label printer because my other printer, not good. My normal printer, not good. So I need a dedicated label printer, and then I can do click and ship. But I don't use it yet. I just go to the post office. Here, you don't have to wait in line except maybe for 5 minutes with one or two people in front of me. It's a small town. Yeah, it's not like my other town where I had to wait sometimes up to 40 minutes because there's a big, long line. Aaron Wilson says, I have a delivery of Georgetown and Alabates today. I can't wait to start napping. Awesome. Ken says, I find mine from Rockhounds on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, that's a good place. Carson is in Mississippi. Well, you can get Mississippi gravel. And sometimes mixed in with that is what they call citronelle gravel in northern Mississippi for free in the rivers. Okay? You can get Mississippi gravel in the rivers. You type in Jack Crafty Mississippi gravel. I have videos on it. Jeremy, Justin Hawkins is pretty reliable, straightforward too. Okay. I'm there with him 4 times and he's done me right every time. Obsidian for like 95 cents a pound. There you go. Also, the comment section within the live streams, make sure you write down the people's names because sometimes we cannot see what happened during the chat after the live stream's over. So communicate now, write down the names of their channels, and then if they have content, you can comment on their content and go, what was that stone you said you had? Who offers obsidian? What was that guy's name again? I'm totally lost. And it's Facebook something place? What was it? Just type all it in a comment if they have content, If they don't have content, shame on them. If they have a channel, they have a channel because they're commenting. If they don't have content, shame on them. Because just post one thing, guys, and then people can talk to you through the comment section. Doesn't even have to be a video. You can just sit there and go, and people can comment on a post. Mike Tuff says, I don't have a label printer. They're kind of expensive, but I just taped the printed paper label on it. Yeah, I've done that before too. I've done that with other, like UPS, not USPS, but UPS. I can print out labels and ship with them. I just haven't set it up with the regular post office. I like going to the post office actually because sometimes they can tell me what the issue is. Like sometimes the post office will kick back the address. It says non-deliverable, and I'm going, what? What are my options? They don't give you options online, but if you're at the post office, you go, okay, what are the options? Like I have one regular customer. I'm going to make up an address. His address is like 85 Street. The street name is 85 Street. It's not really. But what I'm saying is that's the name of the street, 85 Street. And then you got to put street after that. Or it's the other way around. There's an 85 Street, but he doesn't live there. He just lives on 85 something else street. I mean, it's very confusing with that particular address, for example. But if I didn't know my options, if I wasn't at the post office, the guy can't tell me, okay, well, there's like two options here. There's one that says, there's one that's got street twice in the name and one that's got street once in the name. Which one is it? See, if I was online, they couldn't tell me that or ask me that. So that's why I go to the post office. And also for international shipping, they go, I don't know how to classify this. So we've got to figure out how to classify this item or it's non-deliverable. So we go back and forth. Okay, can you call it a piece of jewelry? No, unless you want to play heavy duties. No, I don't want no heavy duties. Okay, so let's classify it as a decorative item for display. Yeah, that's it. Decorative art. There you go. We'll classify this as decorative art. So you can interact with the guy at the post office to get it shipped. And it works well with international too. Now, there's some guys at the post office that don't understand international shipping. And it makes it difficult, but most of them do. Somebody ordered a microwave glass kiln on Amazon last night. Looking forward to experimenting with it. Good. Stidley Designs is here. Jesse says, Patrick, thanks for the update channel news. I like those. I'm glad you like those. Scott Lauer is in the house. He's from England. Let's see. Yeah. Everyone says hi. Everyone says hi. Bill Taylor's here. Hello, Patrick. Everybody just got done watching the channel news. Awesome. Matthias says, what's the size points you will be napping in the next time? I'm just wondering if I should take 5 and 6 inch bifaces out the pack. I'm not going to be napping 5 and 6 inches pieces. It's going to be 4 inches and under, right around 3 inches or about this size at the largest. I do have some other stuff that's larger. I still got to finish out napping the bullhead flint. And some of those pieces are larger than 3 inches. And I've got some other pieces that are large that I got a gift box. Don't ask me to remember who sent it to me, but there's some big pieces in there, relatively speaking. I'll be napping those. But that's not going to be the future focus of the channel. Why? Because I don't like napping big pieces. I hate it, actually. Yeah, I do. I've learned to hate it because they mess up and it takes me forever and it's not worth it. It's not worth the aggravation. And I'm old. I'm trying to reduce my stress. Okay? All right. I don't want to die of some stupid thing. Like, yeah, he was stressed for like the last 5 years of his life. Look at everything went down the drain. We had to take out his appendix. We had to take out his gallbladder. We had to take out part of his liver. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be that person. Yeah. Stress really ages you fast. And as you get older, it accelerates. So no way. I'm not doing no stressful stuff. Small, like this. These are fun, comparatively speaking. For me, nothing in napping is fun because it's not humorous, it's torturous. So I've got to focus on what is not too difficult. Do I enjoy challenges? Yes, if it's not probabilistic. Like I'm not a gambler because I don't enjoy risk. Okay. Why am I a napper then? Because I like making stuff. But napping, as far as a craft, is probabilistic. It's almost like gambling. Yeah, you can get addicted to gambling. Like you can get addicted to napping in that way to where you get this high if you win. Like the win is the good point or the good item that you make after a lot of risk. You win if you finish. And people like, whoa, this is better than crack cocaine, man. The winning of the napping is better than crack. I'm addicted. Yeah, just like gambling. I don't get addicted to that stuff. To me, it's a heavy burden that I got to carry. It's like carrying a big old stack of books up the staircase. Yeah, I mean, I like books. I like staircases. I like exercise. But you combine all three with plus someone might put marbles on the steps. Keith, put marbles on the steps and trip me up. Flintnapping is like that. It's like climbing steps where you can't see. You've got your favorite books in your hand. You're climbing up the steps to put them in your library, and someone threw marbles on the steps. You know what that means, right? You crash and burn once in a while. That's what flintnapping's like. It's terrible for me. Some people say, let me do that. I'm going to climb the steps, throw all the marbles you want. And if I get to the top, that's what I like. I like the risk. I'll fall down, I'll go back up. But getting to the top, after all that risk, that's what I like. Yeah. No. Okay, here we go. What do we got? Patrick, I'll send you the smallest slab of Aurora Borealis obsidian so that you can enjoy it. That's the idea. Send me a little 3/4 inch long piece. Yeah, as long as it's got some cool designs in it, I will be in heaven. Smallzilla or Harley says, I feel myself becoming addicted to fluting Clovis points. It's an addiction my wallet can't support. Yeah, I told you. But use glass. Make glass Clovises. Same thing, right? Just got to find the nice glass. Jesse says, I am self-taught in the beginning and worked only small flakes or debitage. So I make lots of smaller true arrow points. I'm definitely not a big blade person. I have OCD and really beat myself up. Yeah, if you got OCD, you can still fulfill your compulsion if you put a lot of little tweaks into your small points, like deep notches, narrow entry notches, or both deep, and just try that narrow entry, deep notches, and then lots of serrations on the little points. That'll kind of scratch the itch for the OCD. I know it does for me. Smallzilla says, question for you, Patrick. Good. See, at least somebody's asking me questions. All right, Harley, let's see. How common were blade core projectile points? I read an article on how a lot of Clovis points were napped from blade cores, but I don't know how common that practice was. Not common. No. Usually blade cores, they get chucked, right? After they're exhausted. You don't make stuff out of that stuff. I don't know why. I guess some of them were big enough, but there's this thing where the middle of the nodule is oftentimes lesser grade than the outside. So you take blades off the outside, and then the middle is going to be all concretey and more difficult to knap. So you just toss it. In my experience, it's more often than not that the middle of the core is lesser quality. Now, obsidian is the exception, and you can see really fine made. Well, it looked like really finely made cores, but they're still discarded. But they become too small to reliably take blades off. So no, it's not a common practice to make anything, Clovis included, from blade cores. It was not common, but I'm assuming that it was done, but it wasn't. I'm assuming it wasn't common for a couple of reasons. One, the interior of the stone is often lesser quality, and you get smaller and smaller. Core gets smaller and smaller and smaller, so it may not be big enough. Yeah, that's my final answer. Scott Lauer, same. Jesse, I also like making small points, but it makes blade now. But I make a blade now and again. Yeah. Me too. But it's rare. It's rare for me to make a large blade if I do it myself. Scott Lauer says, yeah, in England, nearly everything is off of blades and cores. Yeah. Now, Clovis's, maybe you meant the flakes. How common is it to make a Clovis from a flake off a blade core? That's not common either. Okay. What they find on most Clovis sites that I know of, especially at the Galt site in Texas, one of the most extensively studied sites, they discovered many, many preforms for Clovis dedicated to making Clovis points. Preforms, bifacial, not spalls or blades. Okay? If they were going to make the Clovis points from spalls and blades, they wouldn't make the bifaces. Okay? They might. They might say, well, you make bifaces, I'll make blades. You like making bifaces, I like making blades. I'm going to make my Clovis off of blades. That could have been it. But I don't think it was common. I don't think that guy, I like blades, was common, because people are going to say, wait, I could have used that blade just now. You're messing it up. It's got sharp edges. I need to butcher this thing. What are you doing working with blades? You take a blade off, twice as long as it is wide. It's got sharp edges on both sides, and you can use it in 5 seconds. What are you doing bifacing it, dude? I need it. So those blades and spalls, if they're relatively small, they're not going to be trying to cram a Clovis point into there. They're going to be used for somebody that needs it. They're going to be used by someone who needs it right away. Jesse says, Patrick, I was watching your old 12-year-old vids with indirect antler. With your sloped antler tine, you ripped flakes all the way across the biface. Very cool to see. I just made an Abo indirect tool. Awesome. I'm glad you're looking at the old videos. It saves me the effort of making a brand new one. Yeah. I don't want to make no more brand new antler videos. Why? It's just one of those stressful things. It reduces the chance of success. Yeah. From 1 in 10 breakage to maybe 2 in 10. That's too much for me. The Gulf side also had material right there, didn't it? What does that mean? Jesse says, I've only done indirect with copper so far. It's a good choice. Scott Lauer says, lots of Scandi points were made from blades too. The only arrowheads I found was made off a blade. It's tiny. Okay, well, in Europe, yeah, there's a little bit of different tradition in Europe where they use blades. Not somebody. There seems to be a tradition where maybe somebody started it where everything was bladed to begin with instead of spalled. You made blades, and that way people that needed blades right away could use them for their tasks, and then whatever they didn't use, or maybe they separated by size, they would give some of the blades to nappers and make arrowheads and stuff. It could have been where there was skilled people that were making just blades. That's a whole different ballgame and a different mindset. In North America especially, they weren't very focused on blades. That particular mindset was not common, but it was common in Europe. It's a different skill set. Making blades off a core is a different skill set than making bifaces. And I don't make blades myself because of that reason. I had to learn a whole different mindset and a whole different skill set. Jesse, $5 super chat. No comment attached. Thank you very much. Yeah, I want to get at least one super chat. I didn't mention this. At least one super chat before I start napping. So there we go. Now I can start napping with no problems. Matthias Melender says, almost all of our Mesolithic cultures use blades for points. Yeah, it is very common in Europe, for sure. It's a different mindset. Yep. Jesse says, yep, you just commented on your channel news. No real need for new abo vids. You have lots of good ones already. Yeah, I don't need no more stinking abo vids. I'll probably make some because people want a comparison. They say, how does the antler compare to copper? I mean, you use them both. What's the matter? You can't come up with a comparison? What are you, lame? I can come up with comparisons, but you're going to be disappointed because the flakes are going to look the same whether I do it with copper or antler. How do I know? I don't know. The funny thing is the brain makes it that way to where you're trying to achieve the exact same results with different tools. And you can achieve, in many cases, the exact same results with different tools because that's what the brain's trying to do. It makes adjustments. If you want a certain kind of flake, it'll make the adjustment for whether you're using a sharp, let's say copper is on this hand and antlers on this hand. Copper, okay? Let's say you've got a flake in mind. And you know you can make that flake. And you've got copper. You've got a pointed copper tool, a rounded copper tool, and let's say a spatula copper tool. You can make the same flake with those three tools. Let's say you broke your first two and all you got is a spatula tool. You can make flakes with a spatula tool that look just like the flakes from the pointed tool or the rounded tool. Okay, as an example. Same goes with antler. Now, if you're using those things together in the same video like that I do sometimes, your brain is thinking about that flake and how to make it. And it doesn't matter what tools you use, okay? This is very important. The brain will adjust to make that flake. And you won't be able to tell the difference, except if you examine under a microphone and you go, examine under a microscope and you go, I see antler chips, or I see copper deposits. That's the only way you could tell. People will tell you different. And you know what? They're wrong. Yeah. Can't do nothing about it. They can say it until they're blue in the face, but they don't have proof that they're correct. I have videos, hundreds of videos that prove that I'm correct. Okay. Let's see. What are they wrong about? They're wrong that certain tools make certain looking type of flakes. And if you look at an artifact, they can say, oh, that was made with antler, or that was made with bone, or that was made with horn, that flake, or that was made with hammerstone, hard hammerstone as opposed to soft hammerstone. They say they can tell by looking at the artifact what tool was used. That's where they're wrong. Okay? the brain knows how to adjust itself to make that flake with different things. Okay? All right. I think I beat that. I can't beat that horse dead enough. It doesn't die. Smallzilla asks question, do we have any idea on the trade value of items the natives traded? Yes. Like what could you okay. Stop. The chat's moving too fast. Like what could you trade for arrowheads for, as an example? Was there any record of what items had value and their cost? Yeah. After European contact, there's records of value. Before that, there isn't. But usually they traded bundles. Like let's say the Native American wanted a firearm or some ammunition. He would have to trade a bundle of something. Usually furs, 20 furs for a rifle or something like that, or for ammunition. As an example, maybe it was 200 furs, 2 horses for a rifle or whatever. And sometimes they would even buy and sell people, wives or slaves. All those are recorded. And it wasn't buying, it was bartering. There's a huge amount of data available on bartering with Native Americans. Now, the value of the arrowheads themselves, you can kind of judge what they were by the steel that they were trading to the Native Americans. Europeans would mass produce trade points and trade them to the Native Americans, mainly for furs. Yeah, but they were trading for food and all that. And you can kind of equate each trade point to a stone point. Now, you might say, well, the trade points made of steel were better than stone because they could last a long time. So it must be worth more. Okay, well, then let's say there's 2 stone points for 1 trade point. I mean, all we can do is kind of guess because the records are for steel, basically. I don't think there's any records of what stone was worth. Now, if you have drilled stone beads, there are records of how much those are worth. And some Indians made wampum out of drilled shells of different colors. There's records of that. And there's records of how much it equated to, at the time, French coins or English coins or whatever. There's records of all that. I'm not going to get into all that because there's a lot of data there. But you can pretty much guess, educated guess. Yuri gave me 10 euros. No comment attached. Thank you. Awesome. Let's see here. Yeah, Yuri's in the house. Buckskin NYB 4.99. Thank you. He says Marty is Buckskin NYB. I made it, says Marty. I'm thankful today for him for copper box of obsidian. Wouldn't have been possible without your live broadcast, Patrick. Oh, Jim Cooper's box of obsidian. Awesome. I'm glad you got it. Yes, Jim Cooper is very generous. Yes. And good stuff. Extremely generous. Some of the best obsidian I've ever seen, I got from Jim. He knows what I like. Maybe that's it. Yeah. Let me see here. Jeremy says, I was trying to say that the Galt site had material outcrops super close. I think so, yes. Scott Lauer says, REP, I intended to watch your live stream. Okay, Red Eyed Patriot had a live stream. His name's Michael. He's my moderator. Yeah, he does an excellent job. I don't know how I can repay him for doing this. I think he probably wants a lot of flakes. Send me a big box of flakes. Yeah. I'm gonna have to put together a box of flakes. Yuri says, I watched some London mudlarks videos. They found stuff from mammoth tooth and flint blades and cores to Roman coins and medieval pottery and Victorian stuff. Fascinating layers of history in one place. Oh yeah, lots of history. Jim Cooper says, "Oh good. I've been meaning to message you about that. Did I send enough?" Okay, he's talking to Buckskin. Marty. Jesse says, I agree. I have done accidental hard hammer flakes that look the same as antler flakes, so imagine bone and copper could do the same. Yep. Yes. Dork People is in the house. Funny name. You may have answered this at some point, but you used to use steel because of the durability factor. Do you just prefer copper for reliability or just preference? I'm using copper to get used to it so I know what to say about it and how to compare it to other things. That's number one. Number two, I actually like using copper. Now, I like using steel also. Why do I like copper though? Copper is more versatile. It's not reliable, and it's not just because I prefer it. It's versatile, which means it can nap a wide range of materials successfully. In fact, it can nap everything. I don't know a single thing that copper can't tackle. But there's things that steel mess up pretty bad because steel just kind of crushes the edges. It's really, really hard compared to copper and other things. So it'll crush the edge a lot, but you can adjust the edge so it won't crush as much. But there are drawbacks to steel. The steel also bounces a little bit, so it loses energy. It doesn't direct all the energy into the strike. It'll bounce back a little bit off of the stone. And when I use brass in the future, it's gonna be even worse than the steel as far as bounciness. Steel also slips. Copper grabs better than steel. I use steel for a long time so I can get good at it. The reason why I use these different materials, number one, is so I can get used to them and be able to talk about them and compare and look at the resulting flakes. The more materials, the more different materials I use, the better. That way I can support my claim that you can make the same exact flake, not only with different skill levels, but also with different tools and also with different materials. So there's no such thing as a flake signature. That's absolute false. That's an absolute falsehood and a grift. Okay? There's no such thing as you being able to tell what type of tool or material or skill level was needed to make that particular flake. Okay? Same with flutes, let's say. Yeah, but what about a flute? You got to be expert to make one of those. Well, ask these guys in the comment section. Are they all experts? Some of them can do flutes, and they've only been napping a couple of years. Would you consider that an expert? No. Flutes are not that rare once you start trying to do them. Okay? So experts can do them, and relatively new guys can do the flutes. Okay? And sometimes you can't tell a difference. Like if the new guy's having a good day and it's a perfect flute, almost perfect, and if the really experienced guy is having a headache and it's a little bit less than perfect, those two flutes are going to look pretty much like they're made by the same guy. As an example. Okay? They overlap. You have the flake types and the looks and the styles of flakes, they overlap with each other. So you can't tell exactly how it was made in the past. You can have a good idea that you can guess at. Like you can narrow it down. Like I don't think these guys were using moose antler down in Florida because I don't think there were moose in there. So You can take moose antler out of the equation in Florida as an example, right? I don't know for sure, but I don't think moose and caribou, let's say they weren't making arrowheads out of caribou antler down in Mexico. I don't think so. You can narrow it down, but you can't be precise. People can think that there is people who are able to tell this kind of stuff, but there isn't. They're making it up. Yeah. And it messed me up for a while. So don't think that there aren't people making stuff up in the Flintknapping community, because yes, there are. And people would tell me, I don't know if I trust you though. Who are you? You're nobody. Exactly. Don't trust anybody. If you don't trust me, it's good. Get into the habit of not trusting, especially those who are in positions of authority, because it's too tempting for them to go, let's see, with my authority, I can kind of create the illusion that this is a truth. It's not going to hurt me if I do it, because no one knows. They're all ignorant. How are they going to know? So I can spew this partial truth or this bending of the truth. They might even come up with an outright lie, as long as they think that these people are too stupid to come to understand what the truth is. People in authority will do that. Why? I don't know. That's one of the things that, you tell me. Okay, let's see. Ed Gould says, eBay sellers ripping me off on a return. About 50%, they say they are refunding off of 400 purchases. Of a $400 purchase, that's it. Yeah. eBay's not good. Buckskin NYB, there's a mix of obsidian in there. Okay, Jim's talking to Marty. Let's see. How has the Knife River been for you, Jim? Asks Marty. Several times. Ed Gould says, no mention of that in the return offers. Only refund half the money? Yeah. If it's not in the terms and conditions, you can, I think there's a complaint process. It's been good. A few cracks, says Jim. By and large, they've been cracks I have been able to use to my advantage. Awesome. Jim Cooper says he's never seen Knife River so dark before. Yeah, there's some really dark pieces in that stuff that Marty's been sending us. Red-Eyed Patriot says, no need to repay me, buddy. I do this stuff for channels I appreciate. Well, then that's easy. Thanks. But I think I'm putting together a flake box anyway. I got a lot of flakes. Yeah, and I'm going to be focusing on certain types of material. So whatever I have left, yeah, I need to put those flakes. I need to put those flakes together. Yes, and then I'm starting to get rid of my smaller flakes. I got way too many flakes that are ½ inch and smaller. Between a quarter. I've saved a bunch of rare material in small flakes, like a ½ inch. I don't think I've saved less than ½ inch, but I got to get rid of some of those. Yeah. Brennan Goforth Comedy's here. Bren's here. Jim Cooper says, oh, Patrick, I'm glad you got your package too. Those were the all amoeba flakes. I hope you like the abraders and especially the tobacco. It's my favorite. Oh, yeah. I'm going to enjoy that. The tobacco and the amoeba chert flakes. Yeah, they're awesome. And the abraders are good too. They're a little bit softer than the one that I'm used to, but it's okay. I'm going to wear through them pretty quick, but they're good. Jesse says, I'm finding copper is breaking less points for me. I think it's a little softer on the edges overall. Yeah. If I overhit. Yeah. I do see people like Sal Blades and Points make incredible obsidian with steel, however. Yeah, you can nap with steel. You can nap almost anything with steel, right? The only thing I don't recommend is the very fine, the very high grade raw stuff. Yeah, the steel punishes the high grade raw stuff. I just use copper for that. Yeah, that's what I recommend. Everything else, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you can nap heat treats. Heat treats will nap easily in general. You can nap obsidian with steel. No, your brain adjusts to the different issues. But with the high grade raw, I found just personal experience that steel tends to be too harsh on high grade raw. On the low grade raw, no, it's good. Yeah. Smallzilla says, I've been napping for 1 year and 3 months, and the biggest trick with fluting is breaking enough to figure out what does and doesn't work. Yes. See? And when you have a good day, you can make a flute that looks like it's made by an expert. And you've been napping less than 2 years. Yeah. That's awesome. Jesse says, I just made a new set of boppers with caps, but ordered brass and copper spheres to cut in half and bore out some of the middle for some solid boppers. Well, there you go. Mike Mason's here. If Yopon can be traded all the way to the Rockies, I can imagine moose antler getting to Florida. Yeah, it can get there, but how long is it going to last? You're not going to be making hundreds of points for hundreds of years, right? Guaranteed? No. I mean, you could probably trade moose antler, but who's going to carry moose antler down there when they've got plenty of big white-tailed deer antler? That kind of thing. They just use local materials in most cases. You can get caribou antler down into Central and South America. That's not the issue. The issue is, can you reliably say that it was used? And the answer is no. Can't reliably say it was used. That's the issue. Okay. Buckskin says, I tried my second flute yesterday and broke a piece of black butter obsidian you sent me, Patrick. It napped so nice, I thought you could pull it off, but it broke about 3/4 of the way up. Yeah, that's the thing. The snap and halfishness. The black butter obsidian is kind of snap and halfishness. Yep. Yuri says, Flake's origin story resembles guitar tone wood war. Some people claim different species of wood sound different, but it's pure BS. There you go. Yeah, the guitar tone wood war. Okay. Yeah, I have heard that too. Instruments like violins and guitars and things like that. There is a dispute, or there's debates on what's the best wood to use. Yeah. Ed Gould says, I gotta go. Too distracted by the eBay ripoff. Have you ever tried to get help from eBay? Maybe I'll be back, but I doubt it. I have tried getting help from eBay, and it's just a bot, right? And they say they have it recorded for that particular seller. I did have a dispute with a particular seller one time, and eBay says, yeah, it was a bot, obviously, but it said that it would keep track of the seller. If the seller gets a certain number of strikes or whatever, I don't know what they call them on eBay, they get warnings, and then they might not be able to sell under that name. And I've seen sellers pop back up selling the same stuff again under different names. So I know that they can get their name removed or their ability to sell removed. They just pop up later as somebody else. That's the only problem with that. I've never talked to a real person from eBay. That's why I don't use eBay anymore. One of the reasons is because you can't get real people to respond. And number two, not only a seller can rip you off, but a buyer can rip you off too. Yeah, a buyer has ripped me off before for quite a bit. All I got to do is say that the shipping is late when it wasn't, and then they can insist on a refund. Let's see. So yeah, give them a refund. No big deal. I just chalk it up to a business expense. But that's what they think too. These sellers, they'll just write it off. If I rip them off, they'll write it off. Yeah, it's true. But it's still a scummy thing to do. What did I do? The lights just flickered a little bit. Lightning strike? It's not raining yet outside. Bill Taylor says, I learned how to nap watching Jack Crafty. Who's that? Bill Taylor says, I made my first point in July of last year. That's awesome. Scott Lauer says, I've been napping for construction work for about 30 odd years. 30. Making arrowheads for about 6 years, thanks to Patrick. That's awesome. That makes me happy. You guys had learned off the channel. That's cool. Red-Eyed Patriot or Michael says, in my opinion, the best tone woods are Brazilian rosewood and black and sides with Adirondack spruce top. Most vintage Martin acoustics have that same setup. There you go. You're going to enter the wood argument. Mike Mason says, Jim Cooper, do you mean napping or just making small rocks? I had a huge hiatus from when I started about 37 years ago. 27, not 37. Wow. That's a long hiatus, yeah. Jeremy says, before purchasing on eBay, you can see if it says refunds or no refunds or no exceptions. Yeah, sometimes it'll be in the description. Let's see. Jim Cooper says, in some ways, Scott, you've got both me and Patrick beat. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do any napping at all before, let's say, 2007. How old was I in 2007? Yeah. I need to give him a calculator. Scott says, Jim, probably, but the construction napping, I don't count anymore. I see. Mike Mason says, material availability dictated, I stop. Material availability dictated, I stop. I found myself getting into glass after watching Patrick, says Mike Mason. That's cool. And I don't even nap that much glass. Scott says, damn it, I got to go out. I'll see you later, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see you later. See you on the next video. Next live stream is on Friday. Only 2 days away. Yeah. So I'm going to start napping here in about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to be ignoring the chat while I nap. Okay? So ask your questions now or ask your questions at the end because I try to wrap it up in the last 10, 15 minutes. So you can ask questions now or at the end. Smallzilla or Harley says, Patrick, your channel basically kickstarted my entire nap journey. From the indirect percussion to the beer bottle bottom video, I've been here ever since. Wow. Yuri says, Red-Eyed Patriot, I meant electric guitars. For acoustic instruments, it has influence. Oh, I see. So there's a debate. The debate with the acoustic instruments is valid. I thought, yeah, I got the wrong impression there. I don't make instruments, so I'm not sure. Mac Bales says, some of the best tone woods that I have found are hard maple and West Virginia red spruce. Gibson Guitar Company owns options on most harvestable red spruce in West Virginia. Oh, wow. Now, I'm assuming this is now for acoustic guitars. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you have questions, go ahead and ask. Before I start napping, I'm gonna get ready. Mm-hmm. If you need specifications on any of my tools, I'll tell you. But you got to wait until after the live stream to ask in the comment section so that I can bring up my notes. I don't like bringing out or searching for my notes while I'm doing the live stream. Jim Cooper says, Patrick, that green glass bottle bottom is from the sparkling cider bottles I've been talking about. It's a carbonated beverage, so I find it has a good strength and smooth flakes. Yeah, you're right about that. I've napped those before. I'll buy sparkling grape juice and stuff during the holidays, and I bought that for my kids and stuff, and I napped those bottle bottoms. They are pretty good. The thickness and the flatness. Oh. There's also a mineral water bottle, green. I forget the name. I can never remember the name of that green bottle. Sparkling water. It's not Topo Chico, although they do have a sort of a green tint on their bottles, which are also good. But there's one that's very green. I can't remember the name. When I try, it messes my brain up. Yeah, it makes my brain gets angry and says, "Just for asking me that question, I'm not going to remember nothing else." Yeah, my memory is going to take a break. I'm out of here. You ask that question, it ticks me off, triggers me. I'm out of here. So I don't even. I don't ask it that kind of question no more. Perrier? No, it's not Perrier. Oh, that's a good guess. Mm-hmm. Martinelli? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Let's see. I'm gonna have to look it up now. I can find it pretty quick if I look it up, and it's gonna bug me all day if I don't. Yep. Let's see. I think it's a mineral water type of thing. There it is. But that's just an image. No, not that one. Some of this stuff is only in plastic. This one's a plastic one. Let me see if I can find the glass. I'm pretty sure this is it, but I don't want to say yet. Hold on. It takes me forever to type something correctly. It doesn't like when I use one finger. Is this it? Did I finally find it? I think I finally found it. No? Come on, show me a good picture. Show me a good picture. Yeah, that's a glass bottle. Yeah, it's Pellegrino. Pellegrino. S. Pellegrino. San Pellegrino. Sparkling mineral water. Bought a glass. They sell it in plastic now. Get the glass Pellegrino, San Pellegrino, right? That's it. I can never remember the name. You ask me this 5 minutes from now, I don't know, Pelican, grin something. Did I grin? I'm grinning. If I remember, maybe if I remember, I grin when I drink Pellegrino. I'll remember. Let's see. Administer's here. Drew's Concrete is here. Where you guys been? Administer says, I wonder if you can nap a point with a hole in it by using old dimpled 7-Up bottle. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Sparkling Jaeger, says Mike Mason. You guys know about all these other bottles I've never heard of. Drew's Concrete says, watching on the road, did a job in Colorado City. I'm heading back to Angelo. Well, cool. Mountain Valley Spring Water. Just got to get them in glass bottles. Some of these things are only in plastic nowadays. Like I think Perrier is now going to all plastic bottles. The Heineken bottles are green. If you can get a 40 ounce, those are the best. The 40 ounce beer bottles are better than a 32 ounce, but I hardly ever find the 40 ounce. It's all 32 ounce stuff. The 32 ounce bottles are not that great as far as bottle bottoms go. Sky Vodka is Jim Cooper's favorite bottle bottom. I gotta try that. I haven't tried that one yet. I mean, it's probably the same as all the other high grade bottle bottoms. Administrator says, I've made my first napping YouTube video. It's not good, but I made it. That's good because now people can comment in your comment section and communicate with you. Yeah. Everybody who's got a name in the chat should also have a channel, at least with one post. That way we can all comment and say, hey, how's it going? Or, can you tell me where to find the best rock? New guys can ask you. I think you can even give out your email in the comment section, right? You can put links in. Oh, I don't have it, but here's a link to this other guy that has it. Post something. Bren says carbonated drinks usually do have better glass. The bubbles means it's thicker. Oh, yes. Prairie Ghost Ken says, I buy brown 40 ounce bottles from the liquor store. Gin and grapefruit cooler. Big bottle bottom. I gotta try that. I didn't think of that. Go to the liquor store. Everything's just so expensive. I hardly ever go in there. So, for these mixed drinks things, right? The gin and grapefruit coolers. Is that maybe that's just a straight alcoholic drink and not a mix that you add to a drink? Administrator says, yeah, they can tell me how bad it is now that you have a video posted. Let's see. Administrator says, I've been napping on and off for 10 years and still suck at getting rock, and I'm in Central Texas. How is that even possible? Just drive down to San Antonio, and like 9 out of 10 of the new hotels and new restaurants have landscaping stone with good rocks in it. Don't need to take a bunch. Just look around and find one good piece of root beer. Don't tell them I told you, though. Yeah, but I don't live near San Antonio. San Antonio sucks. Okay, well, just go to any other city nearby. I just noticed there's a ton of landscaping stone in San Antonio that's good for napping. I don't recommend you picking it up, but they got to get it from somewhere, so check out the landscape yards. I've checked out one landscape yard in San Antonio that had bull gravel, but it was still nappable. And you can heat treat that stuff. Sometimes it becomes awesome. That Mississippi Mud beer bottle is the best I've napped out of the 25, 30 different kinds I've napped. Mississippi Mud beer in a bottle. That's interesting. Administrator says everything is on private property here. Yeah, I know, but go to the landscape yards and you can buy a bucket of landscape stones for cheap. They're boring brown. Yeah, but brown is less boring than clear. Yeah. Jim Cooper says, I'll throw a couple into the next package when you're ready, Patrick. Also, if you're willing, could you film yourself trying that tobacco? I'd like to see the reaction when I can. Okay, I got to remember. Let's see. Because I won't remember to do that. I've got to write it down as part of the next channel news. I'll bring my pipe and I'll try the tobacco. Okay. Jim Cooper. All right, let's see. Hold on a second. Let me get my pen and pencil. I'll write it as my next set of notes. Or I'll write it in my next set of notes for the next channel news. So that would be August 13th, 1 week from today. Let's see. Okay. I think I got it written down where I can read it. Not only do I have to write it down, I got to be able to read it. So you got to watch the next channel news. It's going to be a week from today. Yeah. I was just just taking a couple puffs. I didn't even really smoke the cigar in the live stream. I mean, on the channel news today. Okay, it's time for me to start napping. And I don't smoke very often. Yeah, just to relax and to clear my brain sometimes. It really doesn't do anything except maybe a placebo effect. It does calm me down when I have a cigar. It's like, oh, I can think. And I don't even have to be puffing on it all that much. All right, so I'm going to start napping here. I need to get my good luck apron. Yeah, it increases the luck. Yeah, really? No, but anything to increase the positivity while you're napping will affect the napping. So if I say to myself, yeah, this is going to be a good luck episode for whatever reason, it tends to be better. Yeah. All right, a little Mike Tufts bopper. I don't know how heavy these are. Let me get my scale. Yeah. Hold on a second. I do have my scale back here to where I can weigh these things. I should keep this in my napping kit, but it's really big. Yeah, I don't want a big old napping kit. All right, so this little bopper that I'm going to be using today is 3.6 ounces, and I'll be using the next size up. This is the one I just weighed, 3.6 ounces. The next size up, 6.3, 3.6, 6.3. I'll be using these two probably for most of my stuff from now on because I'll be napping little stuff. All right. I'll try the smaller one first, see if it works. So when I'm napping, I'll be ignoring the chat. Okay, guys? So I know people are going to be trying to ask me questions. Oh, well. Okay, so let me see if I'm in frame. Yeah, but I can't see your face, dude. Good. I don't want to see my face. when I review the video. Yeah. It's bad enough I got to watch myself for other videos. I don't like watching my own self. All right. So what do? It's curved, right? So I got to take the curve out. What do I call this? It's a small spall. And I got to take the curve out, which means I got to lose length. That's unavoidable in most cases, unless it's really, really thick. And then sometimes you can squeak out a biface from a curved flake. If it's really, really thick, you can squeeze out almost a full length biface. But in this case, it's not thick enough for that. Yeah. So I'm just going to snap it until it's not curved anymore, which means I lose length, which is no big deal. I'm not going for length anymore. See how that works? Less stressful. Yeah. I maximize it in other ways. Maximize it for the width. And as an example, and I try to maximize the good material. And I try to include any coloration that might make it look cool. Yeah. But that's advanced stuff. If you're new, don't try to preserve the colors. And don't try to preserve anything within the stone. Just snap it without paying attention to the fancy stuff until you get better at it. It requires practice. I'm not going to be sitting here telling you you're not doing it right. Okay? I might tell you that if I'm watching you one-on-one and you're doing something weird. Then I say, okay, that's kind of weird. Try this instead. But any type of napping is good napping because your brain will adjust to what works better. You know, it'll notice that way that you were doing it. Your brain's going to tell you that way that you were doing it is not that great. So shift a little bit, tweak it just a little bit. Napping is all about little tweaks. Yeah. A new guy can be doing it exactly the same as an experienced guy. It looks exactly the same, but the new guy is not going to get nearly the good results that an experienced guy is going to get. But it looks like they're doing exactly the same thing. And you know what? They can be doing exactly the same thing with just almost imperceptible differences. Okay? To an untrained eye, the differences are imperceptible, which means they can't tell the difference. They'll see a new guy and an old guy working on a point, and the new guy's breaking everything in half, and the new guy is working on a long piece and being very successful, but they're doing it exactly the same way. Only an experienced person knows that, okay, the new guy is taking too much off the middle rather than taking the stuff off the ends first. And he's weakening the middle too much and snapping it in half. Okay. That kind of thing, as an example, you can see a difference. But the angles and stuff and the force that you're hitting it with, the difference is between success and failure is almost imperceptible as far as the angles and the forces. You had to tweak those with time. Yeah. And when I'm showing someone one-on-one, I really don't know how much force they're using. So I don't tell them to tweak the forces unless I can tell that they're just not using enough. As an example, then I say, yeah, go ahead and hit harder. when I'm showing someone one-on-one, I have to take both their equipment, their tool, and the tool stone and try napping it myself and then give it back to them. Why? Because I want to see what they're dealing with. I might think I know what their stone is acting like, and I might think I know what their tool is acting like, but not until I actually use them do I know. Okay, so that's one thing I do on a one-on-one. I will take your stuff and I will see what you're dealing with. And sometimes it's an eye opener. It's like, wait a second, the bopper is all funny. And it may turn out that it's wobbly slightly, or it's got a lot of debris in the copper, or it's a strange copper alloy that's very bouncy. It's got a lot of brass in it or something. Something could be really off, but I won't know that unless I actually try the tools. And sometimes they're stone that looks beautiful, but I try hitting it. I'm going, wait a second. This is not flaking at all like I expected it to be. This is a weird a weird variety of the type of stone that's normally good. It's a weird variety, so that we're not going to be able to do much with it. And I'll tell them, I'll say, you know what? I'm napping this stone, and I thought it was a lot better quality, but it's a really crappy piece you got. No wonder you're having trouble. And they go, oh, I didn't know that. I thought that if you just know what it's called and looks the same as the other guys, and they say it's okay, then it's okay. No. Even if you know what it's called, you spent hours trying to figure out what it's called. It looks just like some other guy's stone that's supposedly really good. And then you show it to a guy and he says, oh, yeah, it looks pretty good. You might think, that's it. No. Doesn't do you any good. In many cases. Some cases, yeah, everything will be like they say. But that's lucky. Okay, I'm always getting this weird video type of thing going on where there's interference. And I don't see it until I start napping. It's so weird. Okay, so I switched over to indirect percussion already because the billet got it to where it's mostly straight now. And I'm afraid to hit it with the billet now because the billet is, or the bopper is very inaccurate compared to the indirect percussion. And inaccuracy is one of the things that'll mess you up. And I say in comparison, boppers can be extremely accurate. I'm saying in comparison to the indirect percussion flaker. And no, I didn't always use rods. I used to use, a piece of plastic with a rod stuck in the end as an indirect percussion flaker until I got tired of having to replace tips and I just used rods. I got lazy and just used rods, and I don't have any issue holding it behind my knee. For some reason, my anatomy lets me do it and hold it really tight. And it doesn't move if I tighten my muscles, the rod doesn't move. I've seen guys tighten their leg muscles and tighten this area, and the rod goes like this or like this every time I tighten and loosen. It's all in the anatomy, right? So with me, it doesn't matter. I can tighten up the muscles and it doesn't move very much. Why do I need to tighten it up? Sometimes I do. Yeah. Especially if I'm hitting really, really hard. I don't want this to be sliding backwards like that. I want it to be held in place because it can, if you hit really hard, it can slide like that, which loses energy. So you need to have some sort of grip on it. So I'm attacking the worst first. The mentality is, like I said before, attack the worst first. It rhymes, so it makes it easier to remember that. And the angles It's just slight differences in the angles make all the difference when hitting these flakes. And you only know how to remove them without step fracturing after thousands and thousands of hits. That's all it is. It's practice. You can match the angles. If you're seeing the angles, you can sit there. It's perfectly all right. Just match the angles that I'm using. Match all the tools and just practice and practice and practice. You're not going to be able to get it right away in most cases. That's fine. That's what everyone goes through. Yeah. I'm just using what I call road rock. I found it on the side of the road. I got a whole bucket of this stuff. It's kind of snap and halfish, which means it's not that flexible. It's very brittle, but when it works well. And it can be a high grade non snap and halfish sometimes. It does have little crystal deposits in it once in a while, like right in there, but it's not a big deal in this piece. And the amount of abrading depends on your stone. If your flaker is crushing the edges, just abrade it more. If it keeps crushing the edges, abrade it even more. If it keeps crushing the edges after you sit there and you abrade, it's still crushing the edges, switch to something softer. Like if you're using steel rod, switch to copper. It's a little bit softer. It might not crush the edges much. If you're already using copper and you're still crushing and crushing, get different stone. Okay? You say, I can't get different stone. I refuse to get different stone. This is my grandpa's land stone from my grandpa's land, and I'm not going to switch. Well, then, you're just going to have to suffer. Yep. That's it. Suffer. I don't care. I will tell you that you're just being a little bit foolish. Yep. You want to suffer? Well, it's okay. I understand there's sentimental value sometimes with the stone. But if you can't nap it, what good is it? You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? No? I'm not hearing anything because I don't like what I see. I'm seeing stuff I don't like, so my ears are not working. So what did you say? Never mind. Never mind. Don't worry about it. You got your own ways. That's fine. If you don't like what you see and it makes your ears all messed up, it's okay. I'll make fun of you, but that's just me. That's on me, okay? I shouldn't do it. Okay? Shouldn't make fun of you. But I can't help it. Okay. All right, let's see. We're getting to the point where I got to focus really intently on removing flakes or I'll mess it up. I'm already not getting what I want. Can you see me mess up? No? Good. Yeah. It's good you can't see me messing up. I think it has also to do with this. I'm losing some energy, so I'm getting step fracturing. Got some debris or something in there? What about the other end? The other end's beaten up also. Story of my life. I got two ends on this, and they're both beaten up and got debris. Why does that mess it up? I don't know. Has something to do with the ability of the metal to grab the edge and not slip. If it's got too much debris, it slips. Or something else happens that I'm not too aware of. It's very difficult to get the physics identified for one, and then correct in the explanation number two. So, what's the strategy? Well, low-hanging fruit. After you do the worst first, then you go after what appears to be the easiest. You go, I don't see no worst no more. Now what do I do? You go for what looks like easy flakes. There's no easy flakes. Well, I don't know what to tell you then. You're just going to have to suffer. Yeah, I can't help it. You're going to have to suffer sometimes. Why is flintnapping so miserable? I don't know. But you know what's cool? That the human brain has learned from flintnapping over time. It has changed, not just learned, but changed its structure from skills like this, not just flintnapping, but any type of probabilistic skill. The brain has adapted to it. And we are where we are today because of probabilistic skills. Other skills, that just require pretty much brainless work don't really advance the brain. Like pulling plants to get the roots all day, looking for a plant with a certain shaped leaf and then pull it out and say, oh, that's a good root. Where is the next plant? I'll pull it out and just gather roots all day. That doesn't advance your brain. Now, if you saw the plant with that leaf and you pull it out and there's a different root every time, then you got to try to figure out, well, how do I get better at picking? Because the leaves look similar, but the roots are all different. That means I'm doing something wrong. It means I'm not identifying closely what the difference is on these leaves. There might be just minor, different, almost imperceptible differences that make all the difference. That will advance your brain. Like in flintnapping, just little bitty tweaks make all the difference. So the brain has to get good at doing those little tweaks. Yeah. And some people might say, wait a second, you can just pull roots all day and you can survive? Yeah. I mean, you're not going to look that great. There's not much protein and stuff in roots, but, you can survive for a while. So they didn't have to do stinking napping all the time? No. You can just gather stuff like fruits and vegetables. Yeah. Especially the younger. When you're young, you can deal with carbohydrates and starchy foods better than when you're older. So yeah, kids can go and gather roots. Doesn't take much brain power. And then come back and say, Mom, can you roast these? I got a whole basket for you. Yep, I sure will. I'll roast them all and you can enjoy them. But when you get older, you need to eat meat. Yeah, but I don't want to do flintnapping. Dad's over there cutting himself all the time. He's got to go look for rocks for months at a time. We don't see him for like 2 months, and he comes back and he's only got a few of these. I don't want to do that. Oh well. You're not going to eat meat then. Yeah, you can trap, which I think They did everything, right? Hunter-gatherers did. They gathered roots and they gathered berries and nuts. They also hunted. They did everything. They made arrow points and spear points out of stone and wood and bone and antlers, anything. Everything all the time. The more bases you got covered, the better. Yeah. They did trapping, fishing, hunting, calling them in. You can call in predators. You can bait different types of animals. Put out bait. Just bring them in and shoot them. You don't have to go looking for them. In many cases, you can hunt predators by just baiting them. You can't nowadays, but you can. You could back in the day because they didn't have laws against it. You could trap deer back in the day. Yeah, you don't have to go. You don't have to go shoot no deer at 40 yards. You can trap them and then shoot them at 10 yards or 5 yards or right next to them. Just shoot them while they're in the trap. Yeah, you still need the projectiles, but the ranges are different than what we do now. Nowadays, our ranges are far away from animals in most cases. But back in the day, you could trap a deer and then, it'll start panicking when you get close. But you can creep up within, a few feet and then deliver the coup de grace with your projectile. Okay, it's getting thin now. All right, I don't want to go further than that. See? Okay. That's probably that's probably at the thinness that I like. I'll measure the width to thickness ratio in a minute here, but I think you can see the flake scars. No, you couldn't see every hit as far as the edge quality. You couldn't see the edge quality of every hit, but it's just a matter of grinding. If you're new, what I was doing, just grind it, get rid of the weak areas, and whatever opportunities present themselves after removing the weak areas is what I hit. Yeah. It's random flaking. Opportunistic random flaking with indirect percussion and freehand percussion. No leg pads. All right? And not much billet work. Not much with this. And it didn't take me that long to get to the thickness that now I can do anything I want with it. Shape it, sharpen it, put notches in it. Let me see, what's the ratio on this? I'll do it in millimeters because it's always easier. 38 wide by 6. Yeah, 6 millimeter. 6 millimeter thick by 38. That's 6-to-1. Yeah, that's pretty typical of where I stop. 6-to-1 ratio, and it's good enough to make anything I want. So normally at this stage, I would say, okay, let's put some notches. Let's drop it first. Make sure we drop it at least once and go, give yourself a heart attack. Okay? It's a requirement. And then you can say, what I do is I notch first before I do any extensive work. If I'm thinking right. Yeah. If I'm smart, I'll do the notching first before I do the tip work, because I've broken tips off while trying to notch. Yeah, that's always a pain. If it's too delicate up here when you're notching, you'll bump you'll be on your pad. You're going, and oh, I snapped the tip off right on my hand like that when I was doing this, and you regret it. But if it's tough when you put the notches in, you know don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So it's not tapered down like really super thin right now at the tip. In fact, it's a little bit wonky, which is good. I don't care. I'm concerned mainly about the base. If I want to notch it, is it thin enough? And is it symmetrical as far as the side view? It's got to be hafted. So, okay, video, come on. It's got to be hafted, so it needs to be thin enough to be hafted. I'm just waiting for the video quality to improve here. The video is going. The video is not okay. Here, we're back. So yeah, I want to make sure that this is thin enough for hafting, and I usually have a stick with a notch in it during the video, but for some reason I keep forgetting to bring all my foreshafts so I can test this. So if you test it in a stick, your pre-made foreshaft, and you usually have a pattern that you go by, a previous point, and then a foreshafted stick. A foreshaft, that's a stick that you've carved. Test it out, both in terms of the overall shape from your pattern and the thickness that you need, and then finish it out. Okay? Yeah. So at a 6:1, that's usually the thickness I need. It'll fit into the foreshafts that I've got. Yeah. What's the overall size? 2 7/8 long, almost 3 inches, and by 1.5 inches. Yeah. So this is a typical size I like to make for a that'll dart point, and half this size for an arrow point. Okay. What does it weigh? As far as grains go, I don't know. It's 200 and some odd probably. Do I have a grain scale? Yeah, let me get my grain scale. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. I got my grain scale over here. Not too inaccessible. I want to see how much this weighs too. Okay. Here we go. 322. So it's more than 200 and something. 320 grains, not grams. Grains. Okay. If you look on these scales, it says GR. GR stands for grains. If it's just a G by itself, that's grams. We don't measure in grams here on this channel. I have to say that because I've had people get all messed up. So 320 grains for this preform. And it is a preform because it's already pretty much in the shape that it's going to end up as. A preform is different from a biface because a preform is more refined. It's already heading in the direction of the final shape. I think you can see the flake scars. Yep. And you can make the same kind of flake scars with steel or antler or bone or aluminum. The brain will just adjust. If you want a certain type of flake, your brain adjusts to it, and you can make it with different types of tools. All right? All right. Let's see. Am I done yet? No, not done yet. So I gotta continue. So let's do some pressure flaking, because I know that you don't want to see it. You're not going to be able to see the pressure flaking, but I know you like it that way. I don't like it when I can't see. You're going to get two cameras going, like one close-up camera and one far-away camera. And make the far-away really far away, because I don't want to see your face. I don't want to see your face. Maybe I should do that. That way I don't see my face either. I got too many things in my toolbox. I got too many pressure flakers. Why do I have so many? Because if I have a lot, I don't have to keep sharpening them. If I only have 1 or 2 pressure flakers, I got to keep sharpening them. So I got 3. I got 3 copper ones. They're all getting dull though. See, I got 3. No, I got 4 coppers, and they're all getting too dull. Hate this. I don't like maintenance on my tools. I don't like doing the maintenance because it disrupts my flow. The only time I don't mind doing the maintenance is if I'm stopping at a certain stage and taking a break, and then I'll sharpen all the points, and I'll shape, and I'll remove the whatever nasties, the embedded debris from the tips and all that. If I don't have to continue napping, if I stop during one of the stages, then it's okay. But like during a video, if I have to continue and I've got tool maintenance in between, it messes with the flow. I don't feel like it's flowing. I need flowing. I need it to flow. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I hate interruptions. I can't see what I'm doing. Why am I working on a tip first? I don't know. I'm stupid. I should not do this. But I saw the tip was all crooked. Yeah, hold on. Let me do the notching first. Yeah. I gotta thin down this base, and it's not doing it with the pressure flaker. I'm out of practice. Let's see if it'll do it with this. It needs a lot of pressure. That's what it is. I got to warm up to get the heavy pressure flakes going. But I don't need to warm it up if I just use indirect percussion instead. Yeah. You mean you can use indirect percussion rather than pressure flaking? Yes. And I recommend that you try that, especially if you have difficulty pressure flaking because of an injury or whatever, or due to age. Even age can mess up your pressure flaking. So use indirect percussion where you would normally pressure flake. Same angles, believe it or not. Don't let anyone tell you different. The differences are almost imperceptible. They're same angles. You just need to tweak it. Just need to tweak it a little bit. Same amount of abrading. Just need to tweak it a little bit. It's essentially the same. You're just delivering the force with a strike rather than with pressure. And there are some things that you can do with pressure that are difficult to do with percussion. But those are advanced techniques. Mainly has to do with driving longer flakes. You can drive longer flakes with pressure in many cases than you can with percussion. But if you want bigger flakes, I recommend percussion. And if there's obstacles in the way that are difficult in terms of the amount of force required, then yeah, use percussion. But like I said, sometimes with pressure, you can get longer, more narrow flakes, but you can still get narrow, long flakes with percussion. It's not as common as your long flakes with pressure. Pressure allows you to do, once you get good at it, it allows you to do longer flakes, in my opinion. The combination of long and narrow. I can get long, narrow flakes with percussion. It just is difficult for me. And I don't know. It's not. I don't have enough practice doing that particular type of flaking with percussion. It's probably it. Yeah, but if you can get percussion flakes that are long and you're not telling us how to do it, we're getting ripped off, man. I can do it sometimes. I'm just not exactly sure how I do it. Okay? There you go. Mm-hmm. The brain takes over a lot of this stuff. Thought you said you're going to do notching. Yep, I'm going to do notching, but I see some lumps I need to remove. I see them everywhere. I see lumps everywhere. I see lumpy people. Yeah, I see lumpy people. Come on, I'm getting steps. Step fracturings even with this little bitty flakes. Did I get it? I think I got it. Still not thin enough though. There it is. Finally got a thinning flake that was good. Yeah, that was luck. All right, so now I'm thinking I can do the notching. Yeah. All right, so is it time for me to start looking at the chat again? Almost. I'm holding everything steady. Yes. I can do it like this too, but it's more comfortable holding everything steady. Although, it's interfering with the light a little bit. Oh well. So I'm just shaping this base for one, just to begin with, because I'm going to be starting the notches here. And number two, this helps me get used to the material. I'm thinking, yeah, it's pressure flaking pretty well. There's not much crushing going on, which is good. I like that. I can do probably nice pop outs at the end of the notch without crushing it too much, hopefully. If the material is cooperative, that helps with making nice notches. Yeah. Yeah, bad, material that doesn't really cooperate, it can be such a nightmare to notch. Some people like the challenge. Yeah, my favorite stone is the stuff that's real hard to notch because it challenges me. Knock yourself out, dude. I hate that. I don't like it. Mm-hmm. The kind of challenge I like. What do I like better? Do I like smoked meat or do I like just a steak? Do I like smoked ham or steak? Challenges in figuring out what I like better. Let me taste the steak. Let me taste the smoked ham. Let me try it again. I don't know what I like better. Let's see. Try the smoked ham again. Steak. Man, this is a challenge. But I love it. That's the kind of challenges I like. So what am I doing? I'm just crunching them in. I call this crunching them in. That's my favorite way to notch, is just crunching them in. There's other ways to notch, like with vertical punch work. I can even notch with indirect percussion. I can do this. Stop. I can do this. I can put the notcher here, and I can do this. I can be sitting here doing this. I thought you said you're not supposed to hit on wood, dude. Yeah, you're not supposed to, but I want to show you the technique. It's just pretty much just like pressure notching, except you're hitting. It's a little more dangerous because you could easily knock off way too much. It's like carving with a chainsaw. It's a little bit aggressive, but it works. Especially if you have trouble with pressure flaking, you may want to try this. You can notch with indirect percussion. Come on. It stalled. It did stall. Yes, it did. What do you do when it stalls? You just got to widen the notch, which I don't want to do. But that's what if you're doing percussion and it stalls, you just get the file out, or you switch over to some pressure, or widen the notch. It's a little bit narrow. I don't want to hit too hard with the indirect percussion. That's why it stalled. I can actually become a lot more precise with pressure and get in there where I should have hit. I just didn't want to strike it hard. Yeah, that's why I switched. I don't want to break it on video showing you the indirect percussion notching. It's been a while since I've done it, for one. And number two, it is highly risky. Even if I had gotten used to it, there's no guarantee that it's going to work. No guarantee. There's much better odds of success with pressure, with notching. Yeah, and that goes for the vertical punch notch. I think it's more risky than crunching them in. Okay. This one is stalling on me on this side. Again, because I don't want to push very hard. So I'll probably have to widen that notch out, or just do it off camera where I don't have to worry about trying to explain it. Yeah. But one of the solutions is just widen it out. But I hate wide notches. I want any technique you can teach me, but no widening. Oh well. That's like the easiest way to overcome the stalls, is to widen the notch. Yeah. And sorry Sorry if you're allergic to widening. It eliminates the stalls. Where am I? See, I had it stalled, right? It's this one on this side. See how it's wider than the other one? I stalled this one over here. No? Yeah. I stalled this one. But see how much wider it is now than the other one? But it's not stalled anymore. And you can see that better, that process better in my regular videos. Okay? So that's the beginning. And of course, you got to drop it at least once onto the abrader. Okay? Remember. Anyways. I can finish this out later. Yeah. That's it. It is translucent a little bit. Where's my flashlight? Voila. See? This road rock can be pretty. Can be neat. It can be cool. It can be awesome. Where'd it go? Did I lose it? Stupid light. It's not. Yeah, there it goes. Cool. Awesome. Fantastic. There we go. Let's get back to the chat and see what I missed. Hey, there I am. Where did I go? Oh, you're talking about the Canada fires. I should film. We've got smoke here from the Canada fires and air quality warnings. Yeah. We've got poisonous air today. Why do I think it's funny? I don't know. But yeah, it looks. I thought it was haze from just humidity, but no, we've got lots of smoke here. I'm glad you reminded me because I was going to actually say something. Let's see. We're all getting wind, said Fertile Joe. Mostly we get the lake snow effect. Hope not for 6 months. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, Blades. You're in the house. Sal is in the house. And cracking jokes. Yes, drop it. You got to drop it at least once on the abrader, at least once on the flaker, and at least once on a billet. I think I did that all three. I dropped it on all three of these. Right? Or no? I dropped it twice. Pretty sure. Maybe not 3 times. I can put away my tools, right? I'm not going to go back to this. Not in this video. I like the feeling of putting away the tools because oh, there's the rain. Yes. Let me see. Do I have my shed closed? No, I don't have my shed closed. Dang it. Let's see. Yeah, and the rain is angled toward my shed. Hold on. Let's see. Is it going to get in my shed? I can see it. Oh, let's see. Yeah, the door to my shop is open, but it's not getting in very far, so I think it'll be all right. It's coming down really hard, so if I run outside, I run the risk of, well, I don't need my microphone on. But anyway, I'll wait. Let's see here. Keith Callahan says maybe he will weigh it again when all done. It doesn't lose too much weight, right? Are you asking me to weigh this? It's not going to lose much weight from this. From this stage. 254 now. So it lost 100 grains from the last time I weighed it. It's 254. And the size, right? It was 300 something. It lost a little bit of length. It's now 2 3/4. So it lost an eighth probably off the base. It's 1 3/8 now. I lost an eighth off the width. 1/8 off the length and 1/8 of an inch off the width. So that's what it is now. 254 grains. Yeah, right now it's raining really, really hard. And I have my shop door open, but I don't see much water getting in. I forgot that I left the shop door open. Anyways, it's hard to see the flake scars. Come on, and these new batteries already? Yes, you can see? No? Anyways, Sal says it looks great. That means it passed the test. Thank you, thank you. Man, it's raining even harder now. Let's see, what time is it? 3:57. Let me see if I need to close the shop door. Yeah, I do need to close it. So hold on. I'm gonna go outside with the umbrella. I'll be back in a minute, but I'll talk still. All right, all right. Here we go. Here we go. Almost there. There we go. All right, success. It is coming down a lot. Holy moly. My shoes are soaking wet. Oh well. It is coming down hard. Okay, so I'm back. I think I'm going to end the live stream here in a minute. If there's no questions, I'm going to look and see. Let's see here. Yeah, the shop floor got wet and a couple of my boxes got wet that were shipped to me. So I'll have to take care of that when I leave the live stream. I have to make sure those boxes don't get ruined. There's still water on the floor, so I'll just get the boxes off the floor. Okay. Ken says it's rainy weather all over NA, it seems. I'm on the West Coast. Yeah. Ferdo Joe or Bushy says, I'll adjust it and I'll try to make you a better one. Okay. So we're talking about other stuff. Is Patrick taking a shower? No. Keith Callahan says, come back. He's gone. Yeah. I had to leave to get the shop door closed, or I would have had like a half inch of water on the bottom. It was coming in pretty good after a while. At first, the wind was not blowing into the shop, but I just checked it the second time, and the wind shifted a little bit enough to where it was starting to get in really bad. Buckskin says, I have a question. Can I have it? Yeah, but I'll finish it for the auction. Blades. Sal says, what's the longest blade you've made? I don't know. I don't even want to know. But the longest that I will make will be that obsidian one coming up from the big old chunk from Danny Collins. Yeah, I don't give away anything on the side anymore. Otherwise, I would have said, yeah, Marty, the first one to ask, so I'll give it to you. But no, I don't do that anymore. This will be in the auction if it doesn't break between now and then. Fertile Joe says, Patrick Letchworth is in 2 weeks. Are you going? 50-50 chance. It depends on finances. Right now, two of my daughters are needing some money. So it depends. If they can work it out, then I can go. If they can't work it out, I'll have to help them out, and I won't be able to go to Letchworth. Let's see. Ken says, I'm getting back into my beading. I guess beadwork, right? I'll make you a Matisse flower pin sometime soon. Wow. Okay, Marty says, I'm kidding. I'll bid on it. Okay, good. Mike Mason says, so I had an experience of notching go poorly. Is it because I sharpened it too much first? Maybe. Yeah, it's hard to say. Okay, Bushy says, I'll be there all day Friday, the 22nd. All right, let me write that down. We do need to meet up. I do need to meet Mr. Frodo Joe. I've been trying to do it for a year now, right? Trying to figure out when I can go. So, let's see. Bushy will be at Letchworth on the 22nd. On Friday the 22nd. I might make it for one day. All day Friday. Yeah. How about I'm going to plan, if you're going to be there Friday for sure, Bushy, let's stay in touch. I will go Friday just so I can see you on that one day. Yeah, it's not that far from me. Yeah, I will try to make it. Yes. So far, I don't see an issue, but it depends on like I said, some family issues going on. I already had to loan them some money a couple days ago. Ken says he wished he was close. Yep. Gary Reed is site 4 over there. I see. So I'll go for that. I'll go that Friday. Yeah. So that way I can, well, it depends on how long it takes me, but I should be able to come back by Friday night. So I don't have to spend the night over there. Anyways, it's past 4. I'm going to end the live stream, guys. Thanks, everybody. I see plenty of likes. I did get super chats. Thank you very much. That's always nice. I don't monetize the live stream otherwise. I don't put any ads in the live stream. Yep. See you then. We'll see you there, Bushy. I'm going to try my best to make it on the 22nd. Alan Cole says bye. See you guys later. Yep. Sal says see you guys later. Very good. Thank you. We'll see you next time, Friday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. That's the next live stream if I don't do another video before now and then. All righty, Jim Cooper, see you later. Yep. See you, everybody. Sam folks, great day. Later, alligators. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.